In this R script, we just created a synthetic data set that's supposed to simulate realistic patient records for those that have type 2 diabetes. So this might be for a healthcare system or a hospital or something. And we create a bunch of realistic nuances. So like they're higher their A1C, for example, that might determine the type of medication they take and the dosage. But basically what we're going to do here is we're going to create a bunch of realistic simulations of patients and some nuances. And we're going to even get stuff like an ICD-10 code. So without further ado, let's just get right into the code and let's do this. All right, per usual, I'm going to put the code in the video description so you can see right here. And if you want to highlight everything, you can just hit Control A to do that and just right click, copy. I'm going to put this into RStudio. And so just to be clear, if you are new to R, download R and download RStudio separately. And what we want to do is we want to create a new R script. Okay, let's go ahead and right click and paste this code in here. It looks very long, but I promise you it's not that bad. It's just because I have so many rules and nuances that it looks long and I have lots of comments in there, but it actually isn't that bad. Now, before we get too far into the code, I want to let you know that I downloaded a ICD-10 data set and we're going to use this as part of this. We're going to generate some ICD-10 codes and descriptions for patients with type 2 diabetes. You're going to get this right here. This is a Kaggle page. Just go ahead and download that and go ahead and put that in the same folder as your R script, all right? And we'll reference that in a little bit. All right, so we need to import a few packages here. I like just having this here, so if you have it, great. If not, it'll install it. And so we have dplyr, we have Lubridate, and we have Charlton. And those are the ones that we're gonna use. This is gonna be for working with our data primarily, doing some neat stuff. This is gonna work with our dates, and this is gonna generate some fake names and some synthetic information, okay? We're gonna set this as our working directory, and so I don't have to type out the full folder when I reference where I want to export the data set or when I want to import that ICD-10 data set. Make sure you change it to your own though. And this is our seed, so we're working with random data here, so we need a seed to kind of make sure that there's consistency in our outcomes. And we're going to work with a data set of 1,000, so we're going to generate 1,000 patients. Now this is simple. This is the name. We're going to generate those names right there with Charlton, and it's pretty simple. And then right here, we're going to generate a data set of people between 18 and 100. Now maybe that's not super realistic, but I just want to, I don't know, I had to pick some numbers, I guess. And so we have race here. Maybe I should expand this a little bit so you can see better. But basically what we've done is we've created an array. So white or Caucasian, we're going to generate 70% of those. And you got that 15% right here. That's going to refer to Black or African American, and so on. And so but basically, this is the probability of generating those in that order. So 3% for other, Native, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, also 3, and so on. I think you get the picture there. Now, ethnicity, we're going to say 20% Hispanic and 80% non-Hispanic. So that's what's going on right there. Okay, so we have our date of birth, or DOB here, and since we already calculated the age, we're going to set a date of January 1st, 2024 as our reference date from which we'll calculate dates of birth by subtracting ages and additional days. So this is where Lubridate really comes in handy. You might have noticed the range of 1 to 365, and this does mean days of the year. So if 150, for example, was randomly selected for an individual, Lubridate will convert this into a period of 150 days, and we'll subtract that from our reference date. And this is how we get the month and the day as part of the date of birth. Now, in A1C, that's to measure their blood sugar, and we're going to have a range of 6.5 to 10. It's typically in the diabetes range, and, I guess it depends on the guidelines. I'm not a physician, so I just want to make that clear, but that's what's going on right there. Okay, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, all right? So right here, we're essentially creating our new data frame, and it's called synthetic data, and it's just making it an easy way to store data in rows and columns, basically. All right, this is where things get kind of fun though, right here. We're basically creating a rule. Patients with an A1C of 8 or below, they get the IR type of metformin, and those that are above are going to get the XR, which is basically a more sustained medication effect. This is just to make things seem more real. All right, so right here, we're going to give everyone a base dosage of 500 milligrams of metformin, but as their A1C increases past 7, that's when we up the dosage a little bit. So let's say we generated an A1C of 9.5 from earlier. What happens now is that we subtract 7 from the A1C number that we generated, so 9.5 minus 7, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's say the A1C was 7 or lower. In that case, we'll just leave the base dosage of 500 milligrams. But in our case here, we're going to subtract 7 from 9.5, which gives us 2.5. So now our formula becomes 2.5 times 2 times 250 milligrams. And then we add the base 500 milligrams from the beginning, and that gives us 1750 altogether. There's that visual you can see right there, and I know it seems a little bit complicated, but if you break it down, it's actually not that bad. And my understanding is they don't recommend exceeding 2,000 milligrams of metformin. Like I said, I'm not a physician, but we're going to cap it at 2,000 so we don't have any issues there. All right, so this right here, this is applying that calculate metformin dosage function to each A1C level in our data frame. And it's going to store the resulting dosages in a new column, and it's going to be called metformin dosage mg for milligram. It's going to be in that same data frame. Okay? Let's move on to blood pressure here. We're going to say 15% of our patients are going to have a high blood pressure, and that's these right here. Systolic right there, diastolic right there, and the remainder are going to have a range right like this. Okay? So 90 to 140 systolic and 60 to 90 diastolic. Okay, right? And we're going to put this to our data frame. We're going to shuffle the readings so it's not all weird. When you perform operations like this, weird things can happen. And so you're just trying to make it as realistic and random and representative as possible, I guess. These are the ICD-10 codes, okay? And so we have that data set that we downloaded from Kaggle right there. That's that ICD code set right there. And typically, we're going to want anything that has E11. So that's going to be sort of the parent code for type 2 diabetes. And so these have E11 in there, you can see. And these are the 4 that we're going to primarily focus on. 90% of cases are going to be these right here. And the other 10% are going to be less common ones, I guess you could say. And so why don't we look at this real quick? All right, so for these 2 right here, we have those right there. I guess you'd see those a little bit more common in a medical record. But something like this, you might not see as much. And so we're going to go with the common ones right there. And the other 10% are just going to be some of these less common ones. So if you're interested in type 1 diabetes, that has a parent code of 10, so you can kind of see how that works right there. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on E11. All right, so that's this whole section right here. Okay, here we're shuffling again. Yes, we like to shuffle, but it's just a good thing to do. We just want this to be unique and representative and no weird issues like I mentioned earlier. Okay, we're going to add the ICD-10 codes and that description. Again, that's these right here, this and this, for example, to our normal data set. So all this stuff above of the age and name and race and all that. Okay, and we're going to export it to our working directory. And so again, that's this right here, but you want to change that to your own unless you have a D drive in, the same folder structure that I do. And this right here, this is just going to give us a little preview of what our day looks like when we run the script. So let's give it a try. I'm going to hit Control A here, and that's going to highlight everything. And you just want to go over here to run. Everything seems to look good. Just hit run and let's see what happens. All right, that's looking good to me. Why don't we just scroll up there? That's looking good to see some names in there. Why don't we open the output here and see what we got? All right, I'm going to widen these columns, and so this looks a little bit nicer here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, this is looking pretty good to me. We got age, we have race, we have the metformin type, the A1C, we got dosage, ICD code, description. That looks good. That looks really good. There's another great package called Faker, emphasis on the capital R, and that's also for creating synthetic information. As you can see, though, right here, Faker was unfortunately removed from the Comprehensive R Archive Network, or CRAN, in 2022. You can still get it through GitHub. It's just a little bit trickier, but you can kind of see here, there's a GitHub right there. But I think I'm going to do a video on Faker using Python because there's a great Faker version for Python as well. It's really nice for where you want to generate random information like, again, names, but demographics, location. So you want to get randomly generated cities, states, countries, stuff like that. You might really like Faker, so might be worth checking that out as well. All right, I think we can end things here. As always, feel free to ask questions or let me know what you're working on. Always interested to hear what people are doing. But for now, stay safe and take care, everyone.